Cold nights were not a surprise to earlier generations. They planned for them deliberately every single evening. Long before thermostats, electric blankets, or central heating, warmth through the night depended on one disciplined action carried out just before sleep. It was not about piling on blankets or enduring discomfort. It was about locking heat into the sleeping space so the body never had to fight the cold in the first place. This single practice was so reliable that families trusted it night after night, even in deep winter. And it worked because it followed basic thermal principles that modern homes often ignore. They prepared the bed itself to store and release heat slowly. The bed was treated as a heat reservoir, not just a place to sleep. Before anyone lay down, heat was deliberately introduced into the bedding using objects designed to hold warmth for hours. Common tools included hot bricks wrapped in cloth, stone bed warmers, ceramic bottles, or thick metal foot warmers filled with embers or hot water. These were placed deep under the covers, usually at the foot of the bed, well before sleep. By the time the sleeper arrived, the mattress, sheets, and blankets had absorbed and evenly distributed that stored heat. This meant the body did not have to generate warmth from scratch, conserving energy through the night. Today, this can be applied by using modern hot water bottles, heated stones wrapped in towels, or even pre-warming bedding with retained heat sources rather than electric devices left running. The principle remains the same. Introduce heat early, let the materials absorb it, then rely on insulation rather than continuous heat generation. They sealed warmth in with layered natural materials, not weight. Once the bed was warmed, it was sealed. Grandparents understood that heat loss was the real enemy, not lack of heat itself. Wool blankets, heavy quilts, and thick cotton sheets were layered strategically to trap warm air. The goal was not pressure, but insulation. Air pockets between layers acted as barriers, slowing heat escape. Beds were often tucked tightly along the sides and foot, creating a closed thermal environment that stayed stable until morning. So, in modern terms, this means prioritizing breathable, insulating fabrics over those synthetic materials that tend to trap moisture and let heat slip away unevenly. A tightly made bed with proper layering will actually outperform loose, modern bedding, even in an unheated room. Folks used to block drafts before sleep, not after waking up cold. Before heading to bed, bedrooms were physically sealed. Curtains were drawn tight. Door gaps were blocked with rolled fabric, and unused chimneys were closed up. Windows were checked for leaks and covered with heavy drapes if needed. All this was done before getting into bed, because honestly, drafts strip heat faster than just cold air alone. Once the bed was warmed and sealed up, the room itself was stabilized to help prevent heat loss during the night. Now, this practice is, well, directly applicable today. Even in modern homes, sealing up drafts before sleep can really improve nighttime warmth, and you don't have to use more energy to do it. Something as simple as a fabric door snake or a heavy curtain can do the trick, just like earlier generations did instinctively. They wore sleep clothing designed to retain heat without restricting circulation. Nightwear was chosen carefully. Loose wool garments, long cotton nightshirts, and knitted socks were common. Tight clothing was avoided because it restricted blood flow and increased cold sensitivity. The goal was to allow the body's natural heat to circulate freely within the insulated bed environment. This still applies. Wearing loose, breathable layers to bed improves warmth far more effectively than thick, restrictive garments. The body works with the bedding, not against it. They relied on routine, not improvisation. This was not an occasional tactic, it was a nightly system. The bed was warmed the same way every evening, the room sealed the same way, and bedding arranged consistently. Predictability ensured efficiency. There was no guessing, no last-minute adjustments in the dark. By the time sleep came, the environment was already optimized for warmth retention. For modern survivalists and preparedness-minded households, this really highlights the value of routine over gadgets. A repeatable process beats reactive solutions every time, especially in grid-down or low-energy scenarios. They understood that retained heat lasts longer than generated heat. The core lesson behind this practice is simple. Heat that is stored and insulated lasts through the night. Heat that must be constantly produced will fail when fuel, power, or systems stop. Grandparents designed their sleep environments to coast through the coldest hours without intervention. Once in bed, there was no need to stoke fires or add layers. The work was already done. Applying this today means shifting focus from continuous heating to heat capture and retention. Warm the space in bedding before sleep, insulate thoroughly, and let physics do the rest. Why this still matters for preparedness today. This single nightly habit is as relevant now as it was a century ago. In winter emergencies, power outages, fuel shortages, or off-grid living, the ability to stay warm through the night without active heating can determine comfort, health, and survival. Understanding how earlier generations solved this problem with simple tools and disciplined routines gives modern preppers a proven blueprint that does not rely on fragile systems. If you apply this method even once, you'll notice the difference immediately. A bed prepared properly before sleep stays warm until morning, even in a cold room, without electricity or ongoing heat input. That's the kind of quiet, practical knowledge that built resilience into everyday life. If this kind of historical survival wisdom matters to you, subscribe to Warfield Prepper Chronicles, share this with someone who values real preparedness, and keep these proven practices alive.